caught my wife cheating, and it feels like the last straw. Story 1. My wife came stumbling through the door at 4 AM on Saturday. We live in an apartment complex above a bunch of shops and bars. We had dinner. I decided I didn't feel like going out because I couldn't drink due to a work commitment. But I told her I didn't mind her going downstairs to have a drink or two. Around 12 AM, I texted her to see what was up. She told me she was just getting some good advice from one of her girlfriends that tends the bar. I fell asleep on the couch and woke up at 3 AM, finding that she still wasn't home and the bar had closed at 2. Worried, I sent her a text asking where she was. She replied, "I'm dealing with someone." I reminded her that the bar had closed at 2. She replied that she was on her way home. I heard her struggling with the keys and opened the door for her. She was standing there swaying, and I knew she was completely tanked. I helped her through the door and into the kitchen where she promptly fell down, laughing the whole time. I realized she didn't have her purse and asked her where it was. She said she didn't know. I picked her up off the floor and helped her to the bedroom. She left her phone on the counter, so I decided to see if maybe someone had texted her about leaving her purse behind. The second message down was from a guy that I didn't know. When I opened the message thread, they were talking about how they couldn't wait to meet up to duck when I left for a 7-day work trip on Monday. The last text said 2 more days, like they were on a countdown for me to leave. My wife stumbles back into the kitchen to get her phone. That's when she realizes she ducked up and forgot to delete the messages before she came home. She then spent the next couple of hours asking me if I want a divorce. Crying. Can she take the dog? More crying. Threatening suicide in vain. Asking me if she should book the next flight home etc. Not to get too specific, but I'm in the military and my job takes me offshore for about 2 weeks a month. Not the easiest lifestyle, but certainly not the worst in my career field, so I do empathize with her loneliness. The fact that she's completely removed from family and friends at home and stuck in the armpit of New Jersey, no offense. I actually don't mind it. I had previously had some suspicions in the fall of last year when she had some bruises around her breasts after I got back from a patrol. She explained them away by saying that she got a little rough while pleasuring herself. My gut told me it was bullshit, but when I confronted her, she denied it heavily. My suspicions grew more when a mutual male friend of ours suddenly became very unfriendly with her, but cordial to me, blocking her from all social media, her phone number, and refusing to acknowledge her presence when we happened to be at the same bar or restaurant. She later confirmed that he had given her those bruises, but they had not been intimate. She also denied intimacy with the guy she was basically assisting. But my gut is telling me that's a lie also. I've stuck by this woman through a lot of bullshit. I'm a very laid back person and my stress has been peaking since we got married. She's gotten her second DUI, the first since we've been together, and basically ruined whatever plans we've had for a family due to the financial constraints and the fact that she can't drive. She's been going down to the bar almost every night. Sometimes I've been with her, but most of the time I can't, since I have to be a responsible adult, and ducking something up when I'm hungover can result in UCMJ punishment. I'm up for transfer and I need to make a decision before February 1st. Behind door number 1 is forgiveness. I take her back, try to move on, continue to support her, and continue on the family path of buying a house and having children in Florida. Behind door number 2 lies a clean break. I won't owe her anything in alimony. We don't own property together. And I would move to downtown Boston and live a bachelor lifestyle. The job that I really want is there. Being gone for a couple of months at a time out to sea. Something that isn't possible if I want to stay married. My main concern is that I'll be 32 years old. I've heard that dating can suck in your 30s. But I know there is plenty of potential to have a very good time. A life goal is to settle down, get married, and have children. Something I thought I was getting when I married my wife. So, great Reddit advisors, which door should I choose? Edit. Thank you all for your input and the kind words that some of you had. I've made the decision to follow down the path of door 2. I told her, and to be honest, the relief that I had felt previously was replaced by sadness. I know a lot of you may not understand this, but when you love someone, sometimes you put the blinders on when it comes to their faults. She has put me through plenty of grief, but there are qualities about her that I truly did love, and we have had very good times between the struggles. She is devastated because she truly thought that I would forgive and stay to try and work it out. As much as I can't stand who she is right now and what she has put me through, it still hurts me to see her in pain. I take absolutely no joy in it. It's hard to comprehend that, because I should, by all rights, hate her completely. It's up to her to find it in herself to pick herself up and carry on, but I just don't think she can, and it's hard to have that feeling that you're abandoning someone that basically only had you keeping them afloat. I can and will move on to better things because I know that I have that inside of me. To pull myself up by the bootstraps is something that I've done all throughout my life. As much as I'm anticipating this next chapter of my life, I will still grieve a bit for the potential that we had when we were first married. Again, thank you all for your replies. Story 2. I 25F cheated on my husband 32 meters and I need to know how to tell him. I don't even know where to begin here. First of all, I know I'm going to probably get bombarded with messages calling me all kinds of things like filthy W or and BTCHETC. Look, I already know that. I will be the first to admit what I have done is an awful, terrible, nasty thing. And if I were on the receiving end of such betrayal, I honestly don't know if I could find it in myself to be forgiving. That point, exactly, is what has me more terrified than I have ever been in my life. Some backstory. About 6 years ago, I met this man. He was goofy, sweet, charming, and one of the kindest individuals I have ever had the pleasure of meeting. I didn't see him as anything other than a friend at first. At the time, I was 19. He was 26 and a single father. Well, we started hanging out more and more often, and even though I kept telling myself that I couldn't get attached, I got attached. I fell head over heels in love with him. I adored him. We dated continuously for the next few years, never fought, never had any sort of major arguments or any real discourse for that matter. We didn't break up and do any sort of on again, off again shenanigans. Eventually, he proposed to me, and I said yes. We got married in the summer of 2018. During all of this, he has continually worked his ass off to support his family. He sometimes works 16 hours a day to make sure he keeps his performance rating at work at the highest levels possible to ensure he gets a nice bonus whenever they come around. He has worked hard to move up in his career, and about a month ago, he landed basically his dream job. He is in a better mood than he has ever been at home, and in his new job he doesn't have to put in endless hours like he used to. Since he is now making 6 figures, I was able to quit my job and I have been at home basically cleaning up here and there and really being able to spend some time on myself for the first time in a while, and that is growing to more time. Since he has extra time, he is going above and beyond to help out around the house. He comes home and washes up dishes, will cook just about every other night, and is being a totally amazing father to his son. He also recently got accepted into the grad school of his dreams. He has never been so excited. Maybe that is where this is coming from. I struggled in school. I always did. From elementary school through college. I dropped out of college and didn't get my certificates to do what I really wanted to do for a living. Even though I did that every chance, my husband tries to encourage and enable me to go back. I just never have. And I don't know why I don't capitalize on his support and encouragement. I see him so happy, so excited, and I feel like him left behind. For some reason, in my warped head, I feel like I'm missing out. I hate that feeling, because, in reality, I have it made. I have a husband that busts his ass to make it, so I don't have to go get a job. I can be at home and do wifely things, and I don't even have to work that hard there, because he comes home and does so much here to help me. Despite all of these crazy good things, I feel unfulfilled. And it's not my husband's fault. He's not like keeping me locked away to be a homemaker. He constantly pushes me to get off of my ass and quit making excuses and chase my dreams. He tells me every day that he doesn't want me to be stuck in the house all day, and he wants me to do what I have dreamed of since I was old enough to say what I wanted to be when I grow up. I guess that's one of the concerns I have. Is this normal? Is it normal for a brain to look past everything that is good and green in the world and focus on one thing that is missing, that could easily be rectified, and make an excuse to consider everything bad and meaningless? I guess one positive that has come from this recent newfound time for self-discovery and being able to be in my own space is that I have finally decided to really work hard towards being healthy. In the past 8 months, I have lost nearly 65 pounds. I no longer feel like some lumbering She-Hulk. I look good. I feel great. I have abs again. I have B-easts that don't sag and make my back hurt and are perky again. I have legs that I love to wear skirts and shorts and not feel like I'm offending anyone with disgusting sausages hanging off my torso. But in that also comes the problem. It might be because I feel better about myself and I carry myself with a little bit more confidence. I'm starting to notice that others are noticing me. Well, in the realm of being at home by myself while our son is in school and my husband is at work, I have gotten to a point where I have had too much time to myself. I joined a gym, a couple of crafting clubs, a book club, and some other activities to keep myself entertained and to have social interaction. At my gym, there is a guy that I have conversations with nearly every day. When I started going, he showed me how to use stuff, and he has been an encouraging voice and that extra push when I want to just stop. He makes me keep going. Well, call this guy Dave. After the first couple of months, Dave and I started meeting up outside the gym. We would grab lunch together, or go for a run, or just hang out at the mall and shop. Well, there was a week that I was not feeling like going out at all, but I have come to enjoy Dave's company greatly. I asked him to just come over and keep me company, and he agreed. He came over, and even though I beckoned him to come to sit by me on the couch, he kept his distance. He had never up to that point, or including that day, made any advancements on me. Hell, he was one of the few guys I interact with on a regular basis who hadn't even so much as flirted with me. This is where my ducked up brain ducked things up again. For some reason, it went into schoolgirl crush mode. This guy wasn't giving me any attention that wasn't related to just being a good pal and supportive at the gym. I couldn't stand it. Was he playing hard to get? Was he going after some long game of being that good guy who steals me away? My brain decided that if he wasn't going to flirt and give me attention, then damn it, I was going to make the first move. Then comes this past Monday. My husband flew out on Sunday for a business trip. Our son is staying with his grandma for the week. For the next week, I have the house to myself and absolutely no plans. Per our regular weekend exchange of texts, Dave and I had agreed to meet up at the gym. I went to the mall Sunday and found the most revealing workout clothes that I could. The shorts I got were so short that when I squat and come back up, my ass cheeks have removed themselves and are now poking out of the bottom. I got a top that had just the right support to really make the girls stand out. I even bought new shoes that had somewhat of a raised heel so that my legs and ass would look even more defined. What's worse is that I did my hair and makeup before heading to the gym on Monday. I get to the gym and it works. I notice him noticing me. I catch glimpses of him checking out my ass whenever he had a chance. I even watched him bite his lip as I used a machine that puts me on my knees sliding back and forth with my ass in the air. This drove me wild. He shot me a text as normal and asked if we were on for the gym on Tuesday. I sent him a message back telling him I was having one of those days and invited him to come over again. He agreed. So on Monday night, I went back to the mall. I get a pair of heels. I get a tiny dress. I get a push-up bra. I go to the salon and get my hands and feet gussied up, my hair cut and colored, and everything waxed. Well, Tuesday morning, I wake up and I get myself as dolled up as possible. Hell, I put more work into getting ready for Dave to come to hang out and watch some shows and shoot the asset that I put into getting ready for my senior prom. I looked hot. I felt hot. I felt like a woman for the first time in months. When Dave showed up, he actually said, "Wow, you look really good today." Got plans after I head out. I tried to play it off as I was going to run some errands and take care of something official after he left. I didn't want to rush into it. I didn't want to play the card that in reality, this was all for him. We assumed the normal hangout spots. Me on the couch and him in the chair across the room. I kept speaking pretty quietly until he finally decided it would be easier to come to sit by me than keep asking me to repeat myself. He did. And once he sat down, I made some physical contact every chance I got. I got bolder, lingering longer, keeping my hand on him, until I realized he wasn't going to push me away or back off. Eventually, I got bolder until finally, we were in an embrace and kissing. It was like being in high school again. It started out with an almost confused, "Is this really happening?" kiss, and turned into a long makeout session. Before it went any further, he told me he had to leave, but asked if he could come back after he was done with his errands. I agreed and told him to come for dinner, and he'd cook. He came back. I was afraid that he was politely trying to leave without breaking any hearts, and I cooked for us. We ate and drank about 2 bottles of wine between us. I asked him if he wanted to go watch another show or something, and he told me he wanted to continue where we left off. We did everything imaginable. He ended up staying the night, and as soon as we woke up in the morning, we picked right back up. He left for a little while on Wednesday, but returned after I had basically begged him to. He didn't leave again until this afternoon. We had time probably a dozen times. With protection, my husband returned home, and it's a good thing that Dave had to leave when he did, otherwise he probably would have walked in on us, as Dave's car could not have been even out of the neighborhood at the time that my husband walked through the door. When he did, I was instantly filled with this soul-crushingly painful disgust, rage, sadness, despair and self-loathing. I went to the bathroom and threw up because it wrenched the pit of my stomach so hard. I have avoided my husband for most of the night. He thinks I'm just having an anxiety issue and is respectfully keeping his distance and giving me space. I have to tell him what I've done. How do I do that without him walking out right this instant like he deserves to do? How do I tell him that I love him with every fiber of my being? How do I make up for making excuse after excuse and not ever going all out on making myself look to me to him? How do I explain that I ducked a man who there are absolutely no feelings other than raw physical attraction, even though I give reason after reason that I'm not in the mood or not ready for my own husband? How do I tell him that I feel broken, that I have utterly no excuse imaginable for what I did, except that I'm a complete fuck up? Please help. Is it going to be better to wait a few months? Wait forever? Tell him now. What do I do? I can't lose him, but I can't live with the fact that I have committed the most grotesque and obscene act of betrayal I could ever imagine.